Today marks the end of an era here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, as the North Carolina State Wolfpack meet the #1 ranked North Carolina Tar Heels in this, the last game ever in Carmichael Auditorium. The first game at Carmichael was in 1966, with Bob Lewis scoring the first basket in a win over William and Mary. Last February, North Carolina fans thought they'd seen their last game here at Chapel Hill's Carmichael Auditorium when the Tar Heels defeated Cliff Ellis and his Clemson Tigers. As it turns out, however, today is a day that it all comes to an end. North Carolina, undefeated and ranked #1 of the nation, has been led in the inside by senior Brad Daugherty, an All-American candidate. Daugherty has led the team in scoring with an average of 17.9 and is shooting from the field a blistering 68.9%. That's best in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Taking care of matters from the outside is a job of Kenny Smith, one of the top point guards in the nation. Also a double-figure score at 11.8. The junior from New York City ranks among the conference leaders in assists with an average of 6.1 per game. They've been the headliners for a team that has scored over 100 points 7 times in 13 games. North Carolina State, after some early problems, has seemingly gotten it all together. An 8-3 record overall, with 5 of the wins coming in a row, including this one against Nevada, Las Vegas in the title game of the Chaminade Classic. Part of the reason for the turnaround has been the recent steady play of guard Ernie Myers, one of only 2 seniors on the young NC State team. Another part, and a big one, is named Chris Washburn. The 6'11" sophomore has been every bit the player the experts thought he would be, with his scoring and rebounding inside. He's been the main cog in this Wolfpack early season success story, one that Coach Jim Valvano and his team hopes to continue here today, weaving his magic again in leading the Wolfpack to a win in this final game at Carmichael Auditorium. It's the North Carolina State Wolfpack against the Tar Heels of North Carolina, live coming up next from Carmichael Auditorium.
Raycom Sports and Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions present exclusive live coverage of Atlantic Coast Conference basketball. Today, live from Carmichael Auditorium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, the NC State Wolfpack challenges the Tar Heels from North Carolina. Today's game is being brought to you by Natural Light, NCNB, Piedmont Airlines, the Jefferson Pilot Companies, South Carolina National, Subaru, Food Lion, and Central Fidelity.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Carmichael Auditorium here in Chapel Hill, where today they close the book on an era of unparalleled success in North Carolina basketball. I'm Marty Brenneman, along with Billy Cunningham. And Billy, you look at this matchup today, you look at the memories that will evolve. Dean Smith is, I guess, throwing a bit of a surprise at some folks. He's making a lineup change, and this is his first conference encounter.
Well, the reason for the lineup change is Warren Martin's injury. With Warren Martin out, Coach Smith felt that he needed Popson coming off the bench to add that dimension, especially if they get in any foul trouble up front. What he's doing now is putting Jeff Levo starting 3 small players along with Wolf and Daugherty up front. So this, #1, is going to give them a lot more offensive power to start the ball game.
Now, Carolina scored over 100 points 7 times in their 13 straight victories, and they have a winning margin of 36.5 points per game. Billy, as a former player and coach, these guys are kind of looking forward to what they feel will be a much closer game than they've been used to, with the exceptions of Jacksonville and Las Vegas.
That's right, and here we are starting the conference. Everything that was in the past, those were preseason games. Right. Now it's for real. There's something, now they're going to really keep score and see what the standings are in this league. And they know they have their hands against the tough team, the tallest team that they've played against so far this season, and an outstanding athletic team.
Indeed, NC State with 5 straight wins, one of them against Nevada, Las Vegas. And Billy, a win that Jimmy Valvano found almost too hard to take.
You know, coaches go through this. When you jump off the bench, usually yelling at officials, you have this blood rush to your head and you get a little woozy. But the problem with Jimmy is he went down for the 10 count.
Well, that he did, but his ball club, as we mentioned, has run off 5 in a row. Jimmy Valvano has never defeated North Carolina. Here at Carmichael, he's 0-5. You know the Tar Heel story, 13 wins and no losses. It should be a good one. Paul Cameron is with us today. Paul, your comments from courtside.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Marty, as the story goes, before Valvano hit the floor, he's trying to make a substitution. He said, get Asulis in the ball game. Well, the Tar Heels have taken the court. We've got plenty of action coming your way. We'll be back to Carmichael after this word from Natural Light.
Today's game plan is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. Billy, let's take a look at some of the strategy here today. NC State, the things that Jimmy Valvano feels they have to do in order to come out of here with a win.
Well, poise. Number one, you're playing the #1 team in the country on the road. Last game in Carmichael, just all these different pressures on this team, and a very young team. They have to have the poise early in the game. Now that steps to the man that's the key to this game. McMillan, going back to the point guard, he started the season off as the 2 guard, the senior of this ball club. He's got to read the defenses and really communicate with his teammates. The 2 young players up front, Washburn and Shackelford, have not played in a game like this. They have to keep themselves out of foul trouble early in the ball game, and I think that's why Jimmy Valvano will play zone early in the ball game.
Okay, obviously North Carolina favored to win this game today, but certainly there's some things that they have to do to avoid an upset.
No question. How will they play without Martin? I think for this one game it'll be a plus because of the fact that now Wolf and Doherty going into this game know they must contribute more with the absence of Martin. The only problem, that setback they could have is foul trouble. Now, this is the biggest lineup they've played against all year. They've played against small teams. Now, not only is State a big team, they have such outstanding athletes up front as well as in the backcourt. So that'll be interesting. The tempo. Carolina wants to keep the tempo up and down the court because they feel that they can outrun and beat their big men from State up and down the court and get some easy transition baskets.
Well, it's been a tough place, as we mentioned earlier, for the Wolfpack of NC State under Jimmy Valvano to try and win in. And on top of that, since Carmichael opened in 1966, they've lost 17 out of the 20 here. Today's game plan has been brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. Clubs are still warming up down on the floor. Obviously, Carmichael filled to overflowing for this, the final game ever to be played here. They'll be moving in 2 weeks to the spacious 21,426-seat Student Activity Center, just a short distance away from Carmichael Auditorium. But they try to close the book on this era with a victory here today. And obviously, Jimmy Valvano's Wolfpack would like to have something to say about that. Right now, let's go to PA announcer Kearney Andrews for the starting lineups.
Good afternoon and welcome to Carmichael Auditorium. Today, the University of North Carolina Tar Heels host the Wolfpack of North Carolina State University. Here are the starters for today's game. At forward for North Carolina State, number 33, Charles Shackelford. At forward for North Carolina, number 24, Joe Wolf. For the Wolfpack at forward, number 23, Benny Bolton. And for the Tar Heels, number 25, Steve Hale. At center for North Carolina State, number 50, Chris Washburn. At center for North Carolina, number 42, Brad Doherty. At guard for State, number 31, Ernie Myers. At guard for Carolina, number 14, Jeff Lebo. For the Wolfpack at guard, number 10, Nate McMillan. And for the Tar Heels, number 30, Kenny Smith. The head coach for the Wolfpack is Jim Valvano. The head coach for the Tar Heels, Dean Smith.
The great rivalries in the Atlantic Coast Conference about to be resumed here at Carmichael Auditorium in Chapel Hill, and we'll be back to tip it off right after this. The officials today, you see them, Joe Forte, Jerry Donahue, and Rusty Herring, and at center court, we are just a second away from getting this one started. Carolina seeking to extend its winning streak to 14 in a row. NC State looking to extend a more modest winning streak to 6 as Washburn and Doherty, the 2 high rises go up, and it's Ernie Myers and NC State with a first shot at it. Nate McMillan, a big key, as Billy Cunningham pointed out at the top of the telecast. He's a guy who can do it all. He gets it inside. Shackelford misses on the turnaround, and bodies go flying, and NC State retains possession.
Well, that's the one area that we talked about at the top of the show. Carolina is going to have to do the job on the defensive boards. And that means the smaller people are going to have to come in and give some help to Wolf and Doherty.
Good defense by Carolina. They tipped 2 balls away, but NC State maintains possession. Ernie Myers, Nate McMillan in the backcourt for the Wolfpack. Washburn maneuvering down low against Brad Doherty. He wants it, but Myers puts it up. He throws up the air ball, but part of the reason was a foul on that man, Steve Hale.
It'll be interesting to see if Jim Valvano makes any changes with his attack offensively, because Jeff Lebo is playing Benny Bolton, and he's giving up several inches inside, size-wise, and it'll be see if they go in and try and post him up inside.
Myers, 6'5" senior, one of only 2 seniors on this entire Wolfpack basketball team, and playing very well of late. He had big games back-to-back in the Chaminade Classic, in which the Wolfpack knocked off Nevada, Las Vegas to win that championship game, and did quite a defensive job on Anthony Jones to help the Pack to the victory. So 2-0 NC State with just 40 seconds gone here in the first half of play. The crowd imploring North Carolina to knock it home in their first trip down the floor. Doherty comes high to get it. Smith looking inside. There's Wolf, and he saves it at the sideline.
Surprising to see State come out and start playing man-to-man to start the ball game. I thought they'd come out with a zone.
Joe Wolf has the ball knocked away and picked up by Nate McMillan. So Carolina turns it over, and NC State tries to extend this very early lead to 4. 2 free throws by Ernie Myers, and the Wolfpack are in front 2-0, and they get the ball. And off the ball, contact between freshman Jeff Lebo and junior Benny Bolton, and Lebo picks up the personal in the second team foul on North Carolina.
Defensively, State is going to play a very soft man-to-man because they don't want to allow Carolina to get any backdoors or lob plays to the basket.
State will inbounds. Washburn plays it to Benny Bolton. Right back to the big guy in the middle. Here's a turnaround. It is 4-0 Wolfpack.
That's it. Out-of-bounds play underneath that they put in just for the Carolina game, looking for the big man to take it out and stepping in and posting up.
Well, they give Joe Wolf that 17-footer straight away, and he shows them why they should.
That's a shot that'll be there all day for Wolf.
Well, he's a better than 54% shooter in his career here at Chapel Hill. Ball batted around, picked up by Myers. He works well inside. Rebound controlled by Wolf. So Carolina with a bid to tie it up now with 18:06 to go in the first half. Hale out of the left pocket. Rebounded by Doherty. Put it up. Partially deflected, and Washburn comes up with the ball to Myers at midcourt. He takes it inside for the bank shot, and the rebound goes to Joe Wolf. He's picked up 2 big defensive rebounds here in the first 2 minutes and 6 seconds of play, and he's been doing a good job, Billy, in recent weeks for this ball club, especially on the boards.
Outstanding.
NC State, however, will keep the basketball. Wolfpack in front 4-2. The long outside pass to Bolton, and out of McMillan. He'll set it up.
It was interesting, that out-of-bounds play right there. Carolina, instead of going to the man-to-man, went to a zone defense out of bounds, did not allow Washburn to come in and post up.
Shackelford knocks it in from the baseline, his first field goal, and NC State is up by 4 over North Carolina at 6-2. Kenny Smith, Steve Hale, freshman Jeff Lebo, a 3-guard opening game lineup for North Carolina, along with the big guys, Wolf and Doherty inside. Lebo misses his first attempt. Hale gets it back for Kenny Smith, and it'll be NC State ball.
Well, until Carolina hits that perimeter shot, you're going to see State backing off more and more, forcing that shot.
You know, you mentioned you were surprised by the fact that the Wolfpack came out in the man-to-man defense. You were looking for the zone based on your conversation with Jimmy Valvano yesterday.
To start the ball game, but they were going to go man-to-man if they saw the small lineup in the game.
Now freshman Charles Shackelford out of Kinston scores from one side of the basket, comes back and hits from the other side, and the Wolfpack now lead by a half dozen at 8-2. Hale controls for North Carolina. Lebo, Kenny Smith makes the jump shot through the defense, Doherty with a jump hook. Brad Doherty averaging almost 18 points a game, and he knocks it in. Second field goal for Carolina. They trail by 4. Nate McMillan played defensively by Kenny Smith. Here's Washburn with a turnaround. Misses a jumper. Lebo rebounds in traffic. Contact made. No whistle. Good move to get him by Myers. He takes it inside to Doherty, and they're going to call a charging foul against Jeff Lebo.
Well, what Lebo should have done is just pulled up at the foul line and made that pass instead of penetrating so deep. But right there, you see why Carolina wants to push the ball, because Washburn and I think it was Myers that got back so poorly defensively and allowed Carolina to have a big advantage at the offensive end of the court.
Now, Dean Smith was concerned in our visit with him yesterday about his ball club getting into early foul trouble. Obviously, Jeff Lebo falls into that category, and 2 substitutions. Kevin Madden, the freshman out of Stanton, Virginia, along with Dave Popson, now checking into the Carolina lineup as Smith goes to his bench early. NC State 8, North Carolina 4, State in possession. Myers pinned to the base sideline by Hale, and Kenny Smith needing some help. Can't find it. Now he does, and Madden intercepts it. Kenny Smith slips down in open court as he tried to sidestep a defender at the center line, and State will get it back.
Well, right there, Jimmy Valvano's got to be upset, because as soon as Carolina double teams and goes to their trap on the sideline, the big man, in that case it was Washburn, is supposed to step out and give that release so that there's an outlet pass to hit him, and then look to swing the ball to the weak side.
Carolina with a basketball. Kenny Smith looking for the open man. Kevin Madden, they'll give him that jump shot. Ball picked off inside by Shackelford, who's doing a heck of a job on the boards and also scoring here in the early going for NC State. 8-4 Wolfpack. They like to go inside to Washburn. Has it knocked away by Smith. Picked up by Myers. Long jump shot by McMillan. And a rebound control by Dave Popson. Kenny Smith, baseline pass to Hale. Good maneuver underneath. Couldn't get it to go. Followed by Madden. No foul. Inside by McMillan as he started up again.
Jimmy Valvano stressed for 2 days his team getting back well defensively. And there's Steve Hale going to the weak side for the shot, but Madden just pounding the offensive boards, and McMillan having to reach in, trying to slap it away, and got part of his hand.
NC State substituting for the first time. Another highly touted freshman, Walker Lambiot, 6'7", 203 pounds, out of Woodstock, Virginia. So Nate McMillan charged with a second Wolfpack team foul. An earlier personal called against Chris Washburn on that play at center court that resulted in Kenny Smith being fouled as Madden hits the first of 2.
Lambiot has been playing very well at home, but having his problems shooting the basketball on the road.
8-5 as Madden splits at 2 free throws. McMillan in no hurry to bring it up. They go to Washburn low. Head fakes Doherty in the air. The jumper got the roll, and Chris Washburn has his second field goal.
Well, if Carolina keeps letting him getting the ball in that position, they're going to have to do 1 or 2 things. Either force him out or go double him as soon as he touches the ball, because he's going to shoot it immediately.
NC State playing heads-up defense. McMillan slams at the other end off the steal. So North Carolina off to a somewhat sluggish start, as opposed to the good beginning by the visiting North Carolina State Wolfpack. Another tip pass, but Carolina retains possession. Another tip pass, and Lambiot unable to save it at the sideline. So Carolina will have the ball, but right now a timeout has been called on the floor. 14:49 remaining in the first half. NC State with a lead of 12-5, and will return after this from Natural Light. Announcers for this game are approved and selected by Raycom Sports, Jefferson Pilot Teleproduction. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, duplication, or reception of this broadcast without the express written permission of Raycom Sports, Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions is prohibited. Billy, at this point, 12-5 NC State. Carolina's not making the good pass, and State's taking advantage of it.
No, and this has been a problem that they've had in Carmichael in the past. Just getting off to that sluggish start, but more importantly, there's confidence right now that State has gotten playing out here, that they can play and they have a chance to beat Carolina.
Well, Carolina hoping for better things after Dean Smith got the timeout. Kenny Smith, defense by Nate McMillan. Kevin Madden, back to Smith. Brad Doherty trying to roam free on the baseline. Washburn has him. Now it goes to Doherty straight away for that jump shot. That's money in the bank. They can get him open in that position, and State's going to have a rough time.
What they did there is they had the patience, because they know their strength is inside, and they've got to get the ball to Doherty.
Jumper on the way by Benny Bolton. He hit it, and also was fouled in the process by Kevin Madden.
It's just an outstanding offensive move here by Bolton. Goes up, squares up beautifully for the jump shot, all net.
So the first foul on Kevin Madden, number 4 against North Carolina, as you got to look at a young man, Benny Bolton, who has been playing extremely well for Jimmy Valvano's ball club. Meanwhile, Dean Smith makes a change inside as Brad Daugherty sits down and Joe Wolf checks back in. There is also a newcomer in the state lineup, Panagiotis Fasoulis, as we certainly have an international flavor in this game today. Fasoulis from Greece, and of course North Carolina with a freshman on the bench, Steve Bucknell from London, England. Well, Benny Bolton completes a three-point play that sends his club up by 8, 15-7. Madden drives baseline, stop on a dime jumper, and Fasoulis, who has gained an early season reputation as a bona fide gold-plated shot blocker for NC State, that time goaltends.
Good straw move to the baseline. Fasoulis comes over, just gets it a little late, but as a coach, you're not too depressed about that 2 points because you want him to be in there and be a factor because he's the best shot blocker on the state ball club.
I'll say he has 26 blocks so far this season. Long jumper from the outside, and Bolton has scored 5 in a row for the Wolfpack. And it's 17-9 NC State with 13:45 to go in the first half. Madden puts it on the floor, works it down low, ball deflected again. And would you believe Chris Washburn stepped on the sideline as he went careening down the floor, and Carolina gets it back.
That was great hustle by Washburn, but the next, once he gets control of the ball right here, what he should try to do is find McMillan and allow him to push the ball up the court and let him finish off the play for a possible layup. But still, to see a big man that quick and active in there, you don't see that very often, especially a sophomore.
Brad Daugherty has come back in off the bench. A very quick blow for him on the North Carolina bench, and sitting down is Dave Popson. Carolina's turned it over 5 times. That was only the second for NC State, and a very ill-advised pass by Kevin Madden into the hands of Fasoulis.
Carolina is very confused right now by the different defenses State is throwing at them. A triangle 2, one time down the court, a little man-to-man, a 2-3 zone, and this is what they're going to have to do is just take a little bit more time. They have a 45-second clock, read the defense, and look to attack the weakness.
Charles Shackelford back in for NC State, replacing Chris Washburn. So 2 fouls quickly on Kevin Madden. That was a problem for Jeff Lebo as he got his first start here at Chapel Hill, but had to go to the bench early, although he is coming back along with junior Curtis Hunter.
Well, right now, Dean Smith is looking for a combination, just to get a group out there that starts playing well and gets their team on a roll.
Fasoulis triggers the inbounds pass to Lambiot, and he'll get it out of traffic as he plays it outside to Nate McMillan. NC State by 8, 17-9. They own the ball. Lambiot guarded by Wolf. McMillan plays it inside. Here's the turnaround jump shot, and Shackelford continues to have a hot hand. Young man ineligible in the first semester for NC State came back against that fine Kansas ball club in a Wolfpack loss in Greensboro. Pass inside, Daugherty lays it up and in. We'll have a shot at a 3-point play because of the foul against Benny Bolton.
Carolina got a break there. Okay, Wolf is able to turns over the ball here, and he gets it inside. Excuse me, he picked up the loose ball and was able to find Daugherty flashing right down the lane.
So Daugherty with 3 field goals, 68% free throw shooter on the line for the first time. In fact, he's the first Carolina player to go to the free line so far in the game. Rebounded by NC State. So many people have talked about this youthful Wolfpack team and how Jimmy Valvano has had a history of bringing clubs along, and there's no question they have some exceptional talent and really could be something by the time tournament time rolls around. 19-11, they're in front. Daugherty, good pass inside the Wolf.
That's great ball movement, but it all started with a quick shot by McMillan at the other end. There wasn't one pass made.
19-13, NC State 6-point lead. Trying to answer at the other end, McMillan. They're going to call a charging foul. Carolina will get possession as Dave Popson comes back in for Curtis Hunter.
Here's McMillan making that drive to the basket. Brad Daugherty establishes that position and draws the offensive foul.
So 2 fouls on McMillan, team foul number 4 against the Wolfpack. Carolina will try to cut the deficit to 4 points as another substitution is made for the North Carolina State Wolfpack. Quentin Jackson checks into the lineup, and Nate McMillan will sit out for the first time.
You know, State has come down now and forced a couple shots the last couple times down the court. This is a young team. You know, a veteran team should realize, hey, things are going so well for us inside. Let's just keep pounding it inside, and then if they come double outside, then swing the ball and get the good jump shot.
They play good defense that time as Carolina tried to work the ball inside to their bread and Brad Doherty was knocked out. Timeout call down on the floor below. 11:57 time remaining in the first half. Final game at Carmichael, but State at the moment is up by 6, and we'll be back. Billy Cunningham, Marty Brenneman back at Chapel Hill. You're looking at Nate McMillan. Just a moment ago picked up his second personal foul. Billy Dean Smith was concerned about possible early foul trouble for his people in this game with the loss of Warren Martin. What about State? They have McMillan now with 2, and he's gone to the bench.
Exactly right. Now they're going to go with Jackson. Reason that Jim Valvano was either going to play Jackson or Weems as the backup for McMillan. Now Jackson, he feels, is a more seasoned veteran. Has a little more patience and understanding of the game right now. Weems, if there was a great deal of defensive pressure by Carolina, felt that he had the ability to beat it with his quickness. Well,
North Carolina has trailed almost from the outset. Pops it with a jump hook, and that line drive finds the bottom of the basket. The Tar Heels are as close as they have been in a while. It's 19-15. Jackson handles for the first time. Washburn comes high. Shackelford. So far, an excellent first half for the freshman from Kinston, North Carolina. Walker Lambiot back to Washburn, who's a good shooter from 15. This one a little bit long, and the 2 big men battle for the rebound, and Doherty this time wins out.
Jim Valvano, if he sees this game slipping at all, will use his timeouts. He's not going to be concerned about waiting until the end of the ball game to have some timeouts left. He's got to keep control of the ball game.
Jackson will put it up, but the problem was he took 1 too many steps, and Jimmy Valvano arguing about the call. He didn't think his man walked, and he lets the official know about it.
This is a good call. Nice feed off by Lambiot. Just takes that little stutter step, trying to get himself squared up to the basket. What he should have done is just put the ball on the floor, take that 1 quick dribble, and then shoot it.
Put Curtis Hunter back in the Carolina lineup, and Dave Popson sits down. Lebo, Hunter, Wolf, turnaround, couple. Carolina now on a roll as they close to within 2, and they have scored 8 in a row. Wolf and Doherty, 6 points apiece, and Billy, you call the shot. Jimmy Valvano says, wait a minute. Things are not going well for my ball club, so timeout. 10:44 to go in the half. Carolina, with 8 in a row, has closed to within 2 at 19-17. At the conclusion of today's game, join us as we'll be choosing a player from each team as the Holly Farms players of the game. Okay, Billy, you anticipated what might happen. Carolina got points number 7 and 8 in a row. Jimmy Valvano, as you predicted, called a quick timeout. Now what do you look for from the Wolfpack?
I look for him now to bring the ball in bounds, and if Carolina's playing a man-to-man, looking to get the ball inside to either Shackelford or into Washburn, where their bread and butter is.
Okay, let's see. Benny Bolton will make the inbounds pass at center court. As you take a look at the early field goal shooting, Carolina at 50%, and the Wolfpack somewhat better. Washburn. Ernie Myers back in. Long bomb by Bolton. That time it fails to go, and Hunter picks it up on the move. Long cross-court pass. Kenny Smith puts it up. And a foul will be charged against Myers. He said, no, I didn't. And the official said, yes, you did. And again, Valvano explodes off the Wolfpack bench to appeal the call.
Here's the jump shot by Kenny Smith. Should have had a little more patience with the shot. Myers coming over the back. And of course, I haven't seen a player commit a foul in my life. You know, it's always a bad call by the official.
You never committed any.
I still haven't.
I didn't think so. You're not even playing anymore.
I know.
Well, Carolina trying to tie it up. They had a shot a moment ago. Kenny Smith's long jumper failed to go. But they get the ball back on the foul by Ernie Myers, his first of the game. Hunter puts it on the floor, plays to Hale. Checked very quickly by Bolton. Looking low. There's Wolf with a turnaround. And right now, he has the singular hot hand for that man's basketball team.
Steve Hale had the same situation that Kenny Smith had over there. Had a possible shot, but showed the patience to get the ball inside to the strength. And now Wolf is in his four in a row.
Well, Carolina brought back into a tie, but Chris Washburn fractures that tie with a baseline jumper for the Wolfpack. 21-19 NC State, 9:40 on the clock, first half. Hunter fakes, goes toward the baseline, puts up the off-balance jumper. Good rebound inside by Brad Doherty. Doherty with 8, Wolf like 21.
Both teams have the same philosophy offensively. They want to go inside to their big people as much as they possibly can.
Great defense employed by Hunter on Benny Bolton. Doherty's bid for the steal, comes up short. Washburn gives it right back to Bolton. He'll shoot it in heavy traffic, and nothing but white jerseys inside. Kenny Smith.
Carolina's just getting a little more aggressive at the defensive end of the court, not allowing State to do what they were able to do early in the ball game.
There's the long arms of Nate McMillan paying off for NC State. Was it a charge or a blocking foul? It was a blocking foul. And McMillan will go to the free throw line for a couple of shots. Curtis Hunter tried to get there, but in the opinion of the official, did not quite get stationary in time.
16 foul.
After the steal, McMillan looking to take it strong to the basket. You can see just sliding over there, didn't have his feet stationary. You know, McMillan, you look what he did last year for this team. Last year with a team with Charles and McQueen, he was #1 in block shots for this ball club. He was second in steals, second in assists, and third in rebounding. So this is a player that every coach would love because he just does anything he possibly can do to help his team win.
Well, when the season started, when people said, what's the biggest weakness on this NC State team, it brought up the inevitable question, who was going to play point guard? Well, right now, it's in the very capable hands of Nate McMillan. He hit the first, missed the second, State by 1. Carolina comes down quickly, trying to beat the defense. Doherty shoots for the lead. Rebounded inside by Hunter, had it knocked away, and he clears it out front to Kenny Smith. There's Popson. North Carolina by 1 at 23-22. Carolina comeback has gotten the crowd back in the game. Myers tries to quiet him down as he works it inside, but the shot failed to go, and it's tipped out of bounds last by Dave Popson.
There's a case of those quick jumpers on the State team just battling on the offensive boards, but Popson looks more relaxed to me coming off the bench playing. He's been starting. You know, some players don't like that type of pressure, starting basketball games. And Coach Smith might find out what a move that was. Excuse me. Washburn going up with the right and then switching it to the left. That's just a great offensive move.
How about the pass by Hale, but the shot missed inside by Kevin Madden. David Benz is in the lineup for the first time today for the Wolfpack. 6'10" junior from the Bronx, New York. He's a junior college transfer out of Midland Junior College, the same school that brought the Wolfpack Spud Webb.
You've noticed Carolina's guards missing some inside layups, it appears. The reason for that is a little bit of intimidation. As we said at the top of the show, they're playing against the largest team that they've played against all year. Now, here's a great pass by Washburn, who's not known for that. Inside to McMillan, Popson coming over the top. Now, that's smart basketball. The simple reason there was a mismatch size-wise with Kenny Smith and McMillan. McMillan was in a post-up position, isolated against Smith.
Well, Nate McMillan now 3 out of 4 from the free throw line. State lost the lead. They now go back in front by 2, 25-23, and they're doing a lot of things right. Jimmy Valvano was concerned about the poise on his ball club being as young as it is, playing here at Chapel Hill, and so far they've been able to handle a lot of things and handle them well. Steve Hale called for traveling on the baseline as he tried to deliver the pass underneath.
Well, that time down the court, State was in a triangle and 2. And it appeared that it just confused Carolina a little bit. But Carolina, when they make that extra pass, seem to get a good shot. That goes to State as well. You can run any type of offense, but if your players are willing to make the extra pass, it's just amazing what good open shots they'll get. There's an example right there.
Yes, sir. Indeed it is. As Taven Benz got the pass from Washburn wide open, and State goes in front by 5. 28-23. We've got 7 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in the first half. Madden cross courts to Hale. He looked low. Nothing there. Still keeping an eye out for Doherty. He cut across the middle of the lane, but that jump hook was a little bit short. Lead pass to Ernie Myers. Washburn will put it up and in. This is the first time that Chris Washburn has played against North Carolina. He had those problems last year and appeared in only 7 games. Never got a chance to play against the Tar Heels and is putting on an eye-popping first-half performance today.
I don't think Coach Valvano let him know that they're playing against the #1 team in the country. They're playing on the road. He's just playing with such confidence out there.
Well, they almost created another loose ball situation. Carolina got it back, and Hale takes advantage of it. First field goal for Steve Hale.
Well, they're just so much more actively than Carolina with their hands defensively. They're moving their feet well, and they've just gotten their hands on several balls that Carolina has been fortunate enough to get back.
Washburn on the give and go. That play misfired for NC State, but Hale was tied up. The arrow and possession's pointing toward North Carolina, so the Tar Heels will get possession. Billy, you made an interesting point earlier, the continual changing up on defense by NC State, the fact that it was confusing North Carolina. This is a year after year weapon that Dean Smith likes to employ.
Right, but State, and he was prepared for State to come in and do these things, but the players have not shown the patience at the offensive end of the court.
Hale hit the last jumper. This one rejected by Myers. He gets a return pass and very wisely brings it back out.
Now, Myers is known for someone that once he gets his hands on the ball, he's going to let it fly. But the last two times down the court, he has shown great patience.
Loose ball inside. It is out of bounds, and Myers touched it last. That's the second time a call has gone against Ernie Myers, an earlier foul, and he was jumping around on the floor like there was no way in the world he touched it last, but Carolina gets possession again.
Any coach doesn't like to see a turnover, but still Shackelford was looking for Myers cutting to the basket. It shows a good sign that they're trying to play together as a ball club.
Ranzino Smith just off the bench. Young man, sophomore from right here in Chapel Hill, handled for the first time. Jeff Lebo surveys a landscape, plays to Hale. Carolina trailing NC State 30-25. Quick pass inside Doherty. Somebody got a hand on it, but it was tipped up and in by Joe Wolf. So Joe Wolf, a double-figure scorer for North Carolina. He now has 10. A field goal that Carolina needed. 30-27. Pressure at the sideline, right in front of the NC State bench, and a heady play right there by Benny Bolton as he bounced it off of a Carolina defender. And Pasulis, for the second time, checks into the NC State lineup.
I was at the state practice yesterday, and they must have spent an hour just reviewing what to do against the trap. And here it is. And they haven't done it right for Jimmy Valvano one time. And that is just, well, he just kicked the scorer's table. That's the frustration. You know, you can just do so much as a coach and prepare your team as well as he has, but still have them make a mistake.
Brad Doherty with 10 points. 30-29, so North Carolina starts back again. Contact away from the ball, and an offensive foul whistled against Benny Bolton. The official right on top of the play.
Well, that was just... Okay, this will be a foul of frustration, you'll see. McMillan with the ball, trying to get it to Benny Bolton. Steve Hale overplaying the push-off.
Here's Wolf having it rejected by Pasulis. That time, he got it legitimately, and State brings it back. Ernie Myers fakes a jump shot, kicks it back outside, and gets the ball right back from Nate McMillan.
Pasulis plays a role very similar to Warren Martin, coming in, sparking the team with his defense.
So some excellent defense right there by Joe Wolf against Washburn. On the move is Hale. Kicks it off. Ranzino Smith appeared to travel, and he did. A one-point game, 30-29. NC State trying to get its first win in this facility under Jimmy Valvano.
They haven't won since 1976 in this building.
You look at that situation, and at the moment fairly even, although NC State has been turning it over a bunch of late. Long jumper misses, Wolf clears. Mid-court to Hale. Cross-court to Smith. And good defense at the other end by Nate McMillan.
Nate McMillan was the only one back there on defense. Carolina had a 2-on-1, 3-on-1 situation. Should have gotten an easier shot. It's just a great defensive play by McMillan coming over the backside and blocking that shot.
Something the State has been doing with a capital D this entire first half. Just under 4 minutes to go in half one. State with a one-point lead, and will return.
Tonight's exclusive coverage is a presentation of Raycom Sports and Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions.
Well, if you look forward to a close game here at Carmichael Auditorium, at this point you cannot be unenthusiastic enthusiastic because that is exactly what it has been. You see the score there with the time remaining. State up by 1. Carolina was down by 8. They came back to take a lead. State got a roll. Carolina has come back. It's pretty much been that way, but I think State has surprised a lot of folks with the way they have performed with this young ball club in the first half. As you look at the field goal shooting, NC State still over 50%, and North Carolina's fallen off a bit.
A couple things. State has forced Carolina's big people 2 or 3 feet further out on the court to receive the ball to shoot it. This is what they planned on doing and felt it would be a factor in the ball game. The other thing is we saw the turnovers. Carolina with 8, State with 9. The big factor is that State has been able to convert those into either getting to the foul line or getting some layups the other end. Carolina has not converted their turnovers, capitalized on the turnovers.
Kenny Smith on the move against the NC State defense. Jeff Lebo. Got it back. Checked defensively by McMillan. In traffic is Hale. Back to Lebo. Got his man in the air, but elects to give up the ball. Shot clock with 8 seconds to go. Hale missed the jump shot. Got it back. Banks it up and in. Second field goal for the pre-med student out of Jenks, Oklahoma. 31-30. Tar Heels.
Carolina to beat this team or get themselves going at this point, they're going to have to do it defensively and being very aggressive, getting themselves out and running it with the basketball.
Kenny Bolton looping it inside to Washburn. He draws a convention of North Carolina players, and Wolf knocked it away and picked it up. Kenny Smith, the middle man on the break. To the breaking Lebo. Foul is going to be called on Pangiotis Fasoulis.
Early in the ball game, Washburn was able to catch the ball down low in the box and just turn and shoot. That time, Carolina sent 3 players on Washburn. Washburn has to get the ball out onto the perimeter. As soon as he reads the defense coming back and collapsing, that's when State should look for that good open perimeter shot.
NC State's #1 recruit, you just took a look at him, Walker Lambiot, has come back in. On the line, Jeff Lebo. And I don't know what more you can say about this young man that has not already been said. In the eyes of many so-called experts, the #1 player in the nation coming out of high school from Carlisle, Pennsylvania last year. And a young man who appears, Billy, to have that intuitive court sense in all phases of the game.
He's an outstanding player, but so far today, State has done an excellent job not allowing him to get into the flow of the offense. He hasn't been able to get that good open perimeter shot, and I think that's one of the reasons I think if Carolina can get out and run a little bit more.
Brad Daugherty with a steal, puts it up and in. Carolina, just like that, has jumped in front by 5. Its biggest lead, 35-30.
They're going to be looking to trap now. They're aggressive and they feel good.
NC State now needs a basket. Lambiot puts it up, and the freshman from Virginia drops it in.
Big hoop. As I said on the top, that he has had problems playing on the road. He hasn't had that confidence before. He looked like a seasoned veteran with that shot.
Kenny Smith had the shot, didn't like it. Kicks it back outside to Madden. Yeah.
That's called creating a good open shot for a teammate.
Kevin Madden sends Carolina again up to 5. 37-32. We're under 2 minutes to go in the half. 150 to be precise. Lambiot in traffic. A little bit short. Daugherty kept it alive, but State gets the ball back. And as Washburn started up to launch the jump shot, the whistle, and Kevin Madden, no doubt, will go back to the bench for the final 147. He's picked up his 3rd personal.
His poor-advised shot by Lambiot right there, but a young player thinking he can get after making that last one. But there's that State team pounding the offensive boards and the reach-in foul. Washburn going to the foul line for 2 shots.
North Carolina now has a lineup that it opened the game with, the 3 guards, Lebo, Hale, and Smith, along with Daugherty and Joe Wolf up front. And Chris Washburn goes to the free throw line, about a 68% free throw shooter. Missed the front end, and a good play by Washburn as a redeemer, and NC State will keep it with the arrow pointing in their direction. It appeared that Kenny Smith and Carolina had gotten the missed free throw, but Washburn tied him up. So Bolton will throw it over the sideline to the waiting Quentin Jackson, who's just come back. Lambiot pinned to the sideline by Hale and Lebo. He's in a heap of trouble, but finds Washburn.
That's the first thing they did. Coach Valvano wanted them to do against the zone.
Washburn, he's fouled. Whether it be Joe Wolf or Steve Hale, he's going to go right back to the free throw line.
Now, Steve Hale did the right thing coming back and helping defensively. But when you start reaching and grabbing with the big guy making the move there, that's going to be almost an automatic foul. What he has to do is come back, establish the good defensive position, not allowing him to make that move, and possibly drawing the charge.
We mentioned Steve Bucknall early in the telecast. The freshman from London, England, is now come in for the first time today, and Ranzino Smith has also come back. So Steve Hale and Jeff Lebo sit down, and Jimmy Valvano will counter that move. He will make a change as Chucky Brown, a freshman from Leland, North Carolina, North Brunswick High School, is in for the first time.
Now Carolina is faced with playing against a very big team by State with a set. Well, now they're bringing Vins in, but still, they're still a very big team. They have Shackelford, is that Walker in there now, and Washburn. So they have a big front line. They're going to try and just keep playing the same way they have been so far, and Jimmy Valvano has done an excellent job rotating his players.
Chris Washburn gets his 11th point, 37-33 North Carolina, and the ball. Smith tried to beat Lambiot, couldn't, gets it off to Bucknall. They swing it back to Smith on top. So Carolina running its offense with 1:15 on the clock, 28 on the shot clock. Baseline jumper, nope, he didn't put it up, plays to Wolf. State playing outstanding defense, but that time contact was made. Jimmy Valvano has got to be absolutely ecstatic with the defense that he's gotten from his ball club in the first half of play here.
Is Smith penetrating, creating something for a teammate, but Washburn comes out so quickly. Jackson, again, reaching in. Now, even if it's a good play and you get a piece of the ball there, 9 out of 10 times the official is almost an automatic play. It's like reaching from behind against the ball handler trying to swipe the ball. They're just going to call the foul or going over or making a good tip in over the back of somebody. Those calls are almost automatic in basketball.
Quentin Jackson committed the NC State foul that results in 2 successes for Ranzino Smith. 39 North Carolina, 33 NC State. Up the floor it goes, and that'll be a breakdown of the defense there, and State capitalizes on it and will get a chance to add another point. As Chucky Brown was left wide open on the far side of the floor, they got the ball to him, missed his first time, tipped it in, drew the foul.
It looks like Carolina messed up with their assignments defensively, but Wolf comes over and makes a great block defensively. Brown stays right after the ball and makes a great play.
Take away the basket. They disallowed the hoop by Brown, but he'll be on the line for a couple of shots. So North Carolina remains up by a half a dozen.
It's interesting, that play. You had Brad Doherty and Brown involved in it. 2 youngest players ever to play in the ACC. Brad Doherty and Brown.
He's only 20 years old now. He came to Carolina at 16, and that's the same story for Chucky Brown, although he is 17 years old right now, and they are forecasting with continued improvement from this young man, an outstanding collegiate career.
I had a chance to watch him play against Western Carolina, and I was very impressed with his basketball instincts, and he's only been playing ball now for 3 years.
39-34, North Carolina. 38 on the shot clock, 50 on the game clock. Let's see if Carolina will try and milk some time off. Doherty inside. They kick it to the other side for Wolf. Couldn't get it to go. Failed on the tip. Started up again. Knocked away, and Washburn has it. So the shot clock is off. And NC State, with Quentin Jackson and that time-consuming dribble outside, would like to go to the dressing room trailing by only 3. They need a basket in order to do that with a score 39-34. Hunter went for the steal, couldn't get it. He runs to pick up Lambiot again. 13, 12, 11, 10 seconds to go. NC State will go to their offense now. Jackson spins by Smith. Inside turnaround jump shot by Washburn. He did not get the roll. The tip in win. 2 seconds on the clock. Kenny Smith from half court short. And a very interesting first 20 minutes of basketball as NC State got that closing field goal. Chucky Brown credited with the hoop. And here at the break, North Carolina leads by only 3 at 39-36. So, Billy, we've seen State come in here. You talked about poise at the beginning, and we'll spend more time on that a bit later on, but they have certainly showed a whole lot of it here in the first half.
They showed a great poise right there at the end of the period with the clock running down, Carolina going to the trap, but still showing the patience to make sure they got the last shot of the half. And what happened with the trap, that the weak side was open and Brown was able to get the tip in. Well,
let's take a look at the last shot for NC State. The jumper by Washburn missed, but they got the big play by Chucky Brown. Here it is.
So you see Doherty had to come over and give the help against Washburn. No one there to check Brown off the offensive boards, and he goes up and tips it in.
So Chucky Brown has come off the NC State bench to reap some dividends for NC State. A basket that they wanted, a basket that they got. And I've got to imagine that Jimmy Valvano, after a brief cooling down period, is going to be somewhat pleased in his comments with his ball club about the way they have played here in the first half. A team has an opportunity to learn a lot about itself, especially a young club, and I think he has learned a whole lot about his basketball team, and that word poise, an intangible that is so vitally important, especially with a club like this one where you have only 2 seniors and all the rest are freshmen and sophomores. So an interesting first half of basketball, and this is the final game ever at Carmichael Auditorium, and the fans have seen their club go in front by 3 at the break, but it's been close from the very tip-off, and no reason to suspect that the second half will not be the same. Let's once again go down courtside to our colleague Paul Cameron. Paul?
Thank you, Marty. And during the ACC Sports Center, we picked Chucky Brown, not Chucky Brown, but Charles Shackelford, our Budweiser ACC Player of the Week, and he is really showing his stuff here on this Carmichael floor. North Carolina leading by a scant 3 points at halftime, and we've got the halftime show coming your way. Today, the Mazda game plan. Also, we'll have our scoreboard from the ACC, and we'll also be talking with Fred Bearcat about a couple of the calls today. Of course, Bearcat, the supervisor of officials in the ACC. All that coming your way on the ACC Sports Center in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. We'll be back to Carmichael after this word from Natural Light.
And enlightenment, 2 basketball teams which represent the North.
At the conclusion of today's game, we'll be choosing a player from each team as a Holly Farms Players of the Game. Holly Farms will contribute $1,000 to the Atlantic Coast Conference to be distributed among the member institutions under a conference-approved plan. That's a Holly Farm Players of the Game to be announced near the conclusion of our broadcast. Seconds away from beginning the second half with Carolina leading by 3. Billy Cunningham, we look at the halftime stats, and at least from my opinion, the most glaring statistic there, North Carolina 44.7 from the floor.
Well, Marty, in the last 16 halves, Carolina has shot over 50%. So you can see that their State is just doing an excellent job in regards to their defense. Other statistics were misleading. 25 rebounds for Carolina, 14 for State. Reason I say it's misleading is Carolina has not converted on the offensive rebound opportunities that they have and the way they'd like to. Other points, I think State, number one, McMillan's going to have to do a better job handling the ball. Committing 5 turnovers, just too many for him to commit against the Carolina team for them to have any success starting the half. I also think that Carolina, starting this half, I wouldn't be surprised to see them to extend their defense, to look to come down, look to put a little bit more defensive pressure, maybe even the whole 90 feet against State, either by man-to-man or by trapping against this team after made field goals or made foul shots.
Keep in mind that 44.7% from North Carolina is a team that on the year is shooting from the field 60.3%. So Carolina is hoping to do somewhat better from the field here in the second half as we get play underway. With North Carolina leading by 3, Carolina starting the same lineup that opened the game. Steve Hale pulls the trigger. It fails to go, and NC State rebounds with Charles Shackelford on the receiving end.
State started the same way they did in the first half. Came out playing straight man-to-man.
So the chess game continues. Seconds into the second half. The State continues to try and frustrate that Carolina team by changing up on the defense. Loose ball. Batted around inside. Lebo goes down but shovels it off to Doherty. Kenny Smith to Hale on the end line, and he needs some help in the worst way, and it wasn't there. Rarely would you see Steve Hale put himself in that kind of tenuous position, and NC State came up with a basketball. Washburn foul. Kenny Smith got him as he started up.
There's another example of playing defense with your hands and not moving your feet, not coming back and sealing Washburn off, not allowing him to make that move offensively. Another big factor, you look at the stat sheet, you have Hale, Lebo, and Smith shooting 2 for 10 from the field, and Hale with the only 2 field goals. So those 3 guys have got to get themselves going.
Washburn only 1 out of 3 from the free throw line, but he improves upon that as State scores first, and it's now a 2-point game, 39-37. In and out and in. First half, State led by as many as 10. North Carolina's biggest lead was 6. At the moment, the home team clinging to a 1-point advantage. Joe Wolf looks inside, underhands to Hale, gets it back in a position for that patented jump hook of his. Doherty's tip failed, and Washburn tiptoes along the end line to save it. Starting sluggishly here in the second half, as the Tar Heels did in the first half. Benny Bolton puts it up. Good position, and the resulting rebound by Joe Wolf inside.
Now there's an adjustment right there that Jimmy Valvano made starting the second half. That's a big shot by Lebo, but at the other end, he went inside, posting up Lebo against Bolton, looking to capitalize on that mismatch.
Boy, you could see the shot coming by Lebo. He wanted the ball in the worst sort of way, got it, and knocked it in from long range. North Carolina by 3. Good defense by Kenny Smith. He cut in front of Washburn, lead pass to Hale. Carolina by 3. By 5 on the slam by Hale at 43-38. We have a whistle. Exactly what that call was. Apparently a timeout call by Benny Bolton. So time call with 18 to go. A slam by Hale. This shot right here puts North Carolina up by 5, 43-38. And we'll return to Chapel Hill. A Steve Hale dunk, and then the timeout. Carolina leading by 5, 43-38. Billy touched on the last time that NC State won in this building, 1976, January 18th. State comes to the floor in a hurry. Washburn with a doodle move inside. He dazzled the defense that time in this crowd of 10,000 plus at Carmichael.
That's twice he's used his left hand in situations that forced him to. Just great moves.
Carolina promptly turns it over. State trying to get back to within 1, and Charles Shackelford hits a turnaround.
What a great timeout by Jimmy Valvano. Had his team prepared to when Carolina came out and put that full court pressure on them. And the thing they did that I like so much is they looked to attack it. They didn't look to just get the ball up over half court and set up their half court offense.
It has been a game of spurts. It looked like Carolina had something going, but State comes back with 4 unanswered points. Doherty puts it up, and it drops back through. 14 for Brad Doherty. Carolina by 3, 45-42 over the Wolfpack. Shackelford shoots again. This time he didn't get the bounce, but on the other side is Washburn. He was hammered as he went back up with it. They're going to get Doherty, and that's going to be a second foul. Really, nobody in any kind of serious foul problem at this point, with the exception of Kevin Madden, who had 3 in the first half, and he's on the bench.
There's Shackelford with a shot. Now the weak side rebounding, just battling inside. Washburn getting the ball, and Doherty just having no other choice but to either let him have the 2 points or foul him on the arm.
Washburn, riding his situation at the free throw line, has hit 3 straight now after hitting only 1 of his first 3.
That's a big advantage right now for State, that inside play, missed shots, especially with Carolina playing that man-to-man, and the matchup with Lebo against Bolton.
Panagiotis Spasulis at the scorer's table waiting to come in. Doherty with a turnaround back shot.
I'll tell you, he's as fine a post-up player when he gets to that box catching the basketball, because there's no hesitation. He just turns and fires that.
Averaging almost 18 a game. He now has 16. He was the first half high scorer with 12. Ernie Myers with his club trailing by 4. Outspeeding to Shackelford on the give and go to Myers, and he got the shot inside despite pretty good defense, late though it was by Kenny Smith.
That's just great basketball right there. Just that pass that Shackelford made over to Myers. I don't know, unless they had verbal communication, how he knew that that man would cut to the baseline and make that great pass. Hale going to the basket, and you could just see that the man never had any chance to set his feet squared up to the basket to draw the charge.
Second foul on Ernie Myers, only the first against the Wolfpack here in the final 20 minutes of play. North Carolina with the ball and a 2-point lead, 47-45. Fasulis has come into the front line for North Carolina State. Ball tipped away. What do we got here? Foul against either Fasulis or Charles Shackelford. And they'll go over to clarify it at the scorer's table as the players, at least for the moment, stand around.
Doherty just flashed into the lane and was looking for the ball and was in such good position. Fasulis was just a step late, beating him to the spot, and that's how he committed that foul.
Curtis Hunter will be the North Carolina trigger man. To Brad Doherty, Kenny Smith, to his backline colleague Jeff Lebo, and back to Smith. Lebo will put it up. And in. 6 points for freshman Brad Lebo, and both of his game field goals have come here in the first 4.5 minutes of the second half.
In the first half, there was hesitation on his part going up to shoot the basketball. The last 2 times, he just squared up and just buried that jump shot.
Ernie Myers took the ball into the land of the Giants, and he drew the foul. It's charged against Curtis Hunter, and a Wolfpack goes right back to the free throw line. They were there 12 times in the first half. Carolina shot but 7.
2 shots.
Myers is an excellent foul shooter, shooting over 83% from the foul line. You know, one thing a lot of people might forget is when Derek Wittenberg went down a few years ago, when NC State went on to win that great national championship, he came in and filled Wittenberg's spot.
And he's a lone remaining member on this NC State club from that team that won the NCAA championship in 1983. Speaking of Derek Wittenberg, he's on the Wolfpack bench as a graduate assistant for Jim Valvano.
Excuse me, Marty. State's back into that zone, looking to force Carolina to go from the perimeter.
And Curtis Hunter, was fortunate enough to draw contact, and that's going to be another foul on Fasulis.
The reason for this is the penetration by Lebo, forcing the defense to react to him, and that allowed Hunter to drive to the basket and draw the foul.
So Curtis Hunter steps up there, a young man who had a storied high school career over at South Durham in Durham, North Carolina, but has been injured for much of his high school career. He's healthy now and has contributed to this club here in the first month plus of the season.
Well, that play we just saw on the replay is something that Carolina did not do in the first half, be aggressive against the zone. In that case, Lebo did penetrate and force the zone to react to his ball movement, and that opened up Hunter. They're going to have to do more of that if they're going to have success against State when they go to that zone.
Well, Hunter got them both. Carolina now 51-47 a leader. Steve Hale back off the Tar Heel bench as he visits briefly with a man who hit those 2 free throws, Curtis Hunter.
Well, we have the same situation. Carolina going with that full court pressure, looking to force a turnover.
Knocked out by Steve Hale. State didn't have any problem at all with it the first time Carolina showed it to him a couple of minutes ago.
But what happens in many cases, the players on defense now know how the State is going to look to attack the trap, so they react a little differently the second time. So here's Carolina coming out and looking to go to the trap. Looking for that steal.
North Carolina forces a turnover. 3-on-1 break. Kenny Smith.
That's just great defense by Carolina. And someone has to come to the basketball from State to take that pressure off McMillan.
Ernie Myers trying to answer and does.
Big basket.
That field goal by Kenny Smith was his first points of the afternoon. He has been completely quiet. Lebo with a hot hand here in the second half, and he drills one again.
There's that extra pass at the offensive end of the court. Doherty giving Lebo that open jump shot.
55-49 North Carolina. Fasulis with a sweeping hook shot, way off the mark, followed by Myers, no good, and a heavyweight tip-in. I believe Fasulis got it.
That's who got it. Just a great tip.
55-51, other end jumper fails to go. Joe Wolf skies above everybody else. He'll give it back to Kenny Smith. And to Hale. Had a hand in his face, takes it low. Another forced pass inside. Hale not having a real good afternoon, but an offensive foul called against NC State. Charles Shackelford.
There's Steve Hale driving a little too deep underneath. Shackelford with the ball. Now he just turns right in and throws that elbow out and hits Wolf right in the chest. Steve Hale is just penetrating a little too deep, and he's getting himself into no man's land. Again, we mentioned at the top that this is the first time Carolina has played against such a big basketball team, and that's a big factor in probably why Steve Hale is having some problems.
Kenny Smith. And again, it was that one extra pass that set it up. Lebo really had the shot, but he gave it up to Kenny Smith.
But now if you're State, you have to react to Lebo. Good ball movement, saw the court so well, McMillan, and found the open man, Bolton. That was Kenny Smith's first, I think his first jump shot that he's made this game.
Inside move, and a good one by Dave Popson, and the offense is starting to heat up now.
Right now, State's got to slow it down a hair. Tempo starting to go a little too much in Carolina's favor, too much up and down the way North Carolina wants to play.
59-53, North Carolina, 13-3-0 to go in the game. Walker Lambiot will come in at the next opportunity for the North Carolina State Wolfpack. Here's Washburn, jump hooking, in and out. White jerseys inside. Popson and Hale had great position, and all North Carolina State could do was commit the personal foul.
Here's the shot by Washburn. Good shot for Washburn right in the lane area. You see Steve Hale checking out and Popson. The State players are going to the offensive boards, and the coach does not mind an offensive foul going to the offensive boards because that means his team is really working, and that's a big plus and one of the big strengths of this North Carolina State basketball team.
Foul one against Charles Shackelford, 5 quick ones against the Wolfpack. Hale on the baseline, swings it back outside. Lebo, good pass, Kenny Smith. Bingo.
See what happens when Lebo hit those couple of jump shots. Now they're overreacting, coming out on him too quickly, and leaving Kenny Smith with that open jump shot.
Listen to this crowd. Carolina 10 for 13 in the second half, a steal. Hale trying to go coast to coast, and he does. Jimmy Valvano has to be thinking timeout.
Absolutely.
And exercises one. It is pandemonium at Carmichael. North Carolina has jumped out in front by the biggest lead the Tar Heels have enjoyed.
Here's the pressure defense by Carolina. Steve Hale overplaying the basketball. Lebo just picking the pocket of Brown. Steve Hale with a great move to the basket using his right hand.
So fellas who were not heard from in the first half are doing it now. Time out on the floor, and we'll be back after this from Bud. North Carolina by 10, 63-53, 12:41 left to play in this ball game. Carolina enjoying its biggest lead of the entire afternoon. As you look at the great difference from the first half to the second half, really, Billy, for both ball clubs. State 48-3 in the first half, now 54.5%. North Carolina 78.6% here in the second half.
One major reason, they're now in the second half, they're converting those turnovers to made field goals at the other end of the court. Okay, number two. You look at what Carolina is shooting for the field, from the field over the year. They're shooting over 60% as a team. Why? Because they run, they create the turnovers, and they get the easy baskets to the other end.
And the backcourt has really come alive for Dean Smith's club. Of the 24 second half points, the trio of Hale, Smith, and Lebo have accounted for 16 of them. So NC State, who has benefited from a couple of earlier timeouts in this game, hoping that the same thing will hold true now.
Oh, out there right now, State has a very young basketball team on the court. McMillan's the only senior. You have Brown, a freshman, Washburn, a sophomore, Lambiot. Big shot by McMillan. They needed that basket, and after every timeout Jimmy Valvano was called, they've been able to come out and convert.
Nate McMillan with his second field goal. Popson line drive jump shot. Too hard for North Carolina. Picked off by McMillan. So State, following the timeout, got the deficit to 8. They now try to shave it to 6. Washburn looking for somebody, finds him, and an excellent pass by Washburn, who has done that on more than one occasion today. This time, the recipient, Chucky Brown, he was fouled by Dave Popson.
And also, there was a technical foul called on Popson on this play because he must have said something to the official. That's a great pass by Washburn. You know, looking at the statistics, he does not have many assists. The average is about 1 a game. Now he comes into this game, he's finding the open man, he's reading the defenses so well. You got to praise Jimmy Valvano, though, with those timeouts. The last time they came out of the timeout, they were down 5 points. They scored quick two baskets, cut it to 1. Here they are in a situation they have to come out down 10. Now they're going to possibly be able to cut this to a 4-point basketball game with a technical foul.
So this has the makings of a tremendous turnaround in favor of NC State. Brown misses the opportunity at a 3-point play, but now another Wolfpack player, and it'll be Nate McMillan will go to shoot the technical.
In March, Jimmy Valvano will not have to call these timeouts shots that he's having to call right now for this ball club because they're very young now. He wants to make sure they keep their poise. They will have been through the conference. They will have experienced going on the road and playing these tough conference basketball games, so they'll know how to react to each other and react to different situations like they are right now.
Talk about interesting situations for the remainder of the game, and you're talking just 13 seconds shy of a full 12 minutes. NC State has but one timeout remaining. North Carolina, typically Dean Smith style, he has 4. But State has scored 5 in a row, and here's McMillan making it 7 straight. So 7 in a row for the Wolfpack following the timeout, and it is a 3-point game at 63-60.
State's back into their man-to-man defense.
Jeff Lebo stops, pops. This time he couldn't get it to go. Wolf got a hand on it, but it was last touched by Walker Lambion.
Tough shot by Lebo. But right now, especially when State is in the man-to-man, this is where Carolina is going to have the good patience, looking to get the ball inside to Doherty, and unless they have the good open perimeter shot.
They leave Doherty alone that far away from the basket. He goes to Wolf and turns and shoots. McMillan hardly got a hand up in his face.
No, you don't. We all know that Jeff Wolf's a good player. He's been starting for Carolina for a couple of years, but he is such an underrated player in my estimation. Here he is. He has to go out and he's got to play Washburn defensively, and he has really been such a force at the offensive end of the court.
Pretty good drive by Lambiot. Rebound by Carolina. Foul is going to be called against the Wolfpack.
If we could see that again, you'll see why he missed that shot. Lambiot is left-handed. Okay, he's left-handed. Now watch what foot he goes off to shoot the basketball. He goes off his left foot. Now that means that he's not going to be under the proper control to make that shot. If he had gone off his right foot, he would have been able to go towards the basket and possibly have a better chance to make it. You're
talking about the multifaceted Joe Wolf. Not only has he scored 12 points today, he's also hauled down 9 rebounds. Hale kicks it inside. Doherty turning, shooting. Possibly a Wolfpack hand on the ball. Picked up loose by Charles Shackleton. 65-60 North Carolina over the Wolfpack. Still better than 10 minutes to go in this game. A game that saw North Carolina leading at the half by only 3. 39-36. Long jumper off the mark. Washburn.
Oh! Yeah, only guards are supposed to be able to do that. You know, his hero. Now watch Washburn going to the offensive boards here. Now, offensive rebounding is anticipation, anticipating the shot from your teammate and getting there. But I don't know how you describe that shot that he was trying to make there. But the important thing is he was able to draw some contact and get to the foul line. His hero and his idol is Moses Malone, who I had the fortune of coaching for several years. And if he keeps working going to the boards that way, well, he might catch Moses at the end of his career.
Well, you're talking about a young man who, to a large degree, is really a rookie in terms of experience. He played but 7 games last year, brother. You would not know it by the way he has performed so far this season. 65-61. Kenny Smith, bad pass inside. A lot of red jerseys underneath on that ball intended for Doherty and picked up by Lambiot.
That was great help defense by Lambiot. Poor advised pass there. Just no chance, even if he caught it, to do anything with the basketball.
Nate McMillan did the only thing he could do to eliminate the Brad Doherty slam, and that's to commit the foul. So a situation that we discussed earlier is now starting to mount a little bit. Nate McMillan has picked up his 3rd personal foul. Pasoulis on the Wolfpack bench also has 3 for North Carolina. Brad Doherty a moment ago picked up his 3rd.
Big advantage Brad Doherty has over those players is he's a senior. He's played in games like this. He knows what he is able to do, and he will play a smart game. At least I'm sure Coach Smith hopes, and not pick up that 4th or 5th foul.
Really, how good a professional player can Brad Doherty be?
Well, one big factor is the professional lane is a couple feet wider. So he won't be able to get the ball in as deep as he has here, but he has an excellent touch, excellent shooter, good hands around the basket. I think that, and the thing that I've seen him grow in this 4-year period of time to be a very aggressive offensive player inside, where I thought he was a little passive in the past years.
Jim Valvano happy as Doherty misses 2 free throws. North Carolina cannot extend the lead that stands at 4. State ball, 9.5 remaining. Lambiot fires, too strong. Into the hands of a Wolfpack player, Quentin Jackson. He'll circle around and bring it out front.
State is just getting too many offensive rebounds for Carolina.
And there's Lambiot. He beat Steve Hale on the other side and got the layup. It was 10. It is now only 2. 65-63, and I'll tell you, Jimmy Valvano coaching up a storm over there in front of the NC State bench.
One of the things Valvano wanted to make sure that State did not do or allow Carolina to do, a great individual move by Kenny Smith, was allow Carolina to get any backdoor layups or any lobs to the basket. So far to this point, they've done an excellent job of that. The main reason is when they play man-to-man, they play soft and force the ball to be passed to the perimeter.
Chucky Brown throws up an air ball. North Carolina, as Madden kicks it around, but got it back, feeds a blind pass inside the guard. Well, here come the Tar Heels again.
That's a young basketball team there. They had a situation they did get back very well as a team defensively, but they didn't match up and pick up their men quick enough.
A ton of fresh bodies on the far side, hoping to get in very, very quickly. 69-63, the Tar Heels in front of the Wolfpack. Washburn drawing double-team defense, kicks it off to Quentin Jackson. He throws up a rock, but State will recycle the offense as they keep it at their end.
State is just killing Carolina, and that's what's keeping them in the game is the offensive boards right there.
Walker Lambiot with a careening tip as he came barreling down the lane. The nice touch, and it's again a 4-point game, 69-65. Got Vasulis, Macmillan, and Bolton waiting to come in for NC State. Lebo and Popson for North Carolina. So a moment wholesale substitutions. Kenny Smith, short. Doherty kept it alive. It's tipped at the end line, saved by Wolf on a great individual effort, and Doherty from 15. Tip up by Jeff Wolf. He's all over the place. And this time too much, so he's whistled for the foul, and now the substitutions in man.
Brad Doherty had that open jump shot from the elbow. No one comes out to defend against him. The toughest shot in basketball. It forces a player to think.
Timeout on the floor, 7:23 remaining. North Carolina by 4, and we'll be back.
Tonight's exclusive coverage is a presentation of Raycom Sports and Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions.
Again, the reminder at the conclusion of today's game, join us as we'll be choosing a player from each team as a Holly Farms Players of the Game. You see the situation, 69-65, North Carolina. Billy, how about this?
Brad Doherty, you can see how open he is. He didn't have a hand in his face. It's the toughest shot to make in basketball. There's Wolf pounding the offensive boards, but goes over the back and picks up the foul.
They're the players right now that are hanging on the precipice to some degree. 3 for McMillan, Doherty, Madden on the bench with 3. Vasulis has 3, and he is sitting at the moment, or no, he's not. He's back in the NC State lineup coming off of the timeout. He handles the basketball. He got away with a pass that time. Carolina was primed for the steal, but Walker, Lambiot's guy, to pick it off. Here's Benny Bolt. Whoa. Lambiot on top of the back of Steve Hale as he tried to keep the ball in play, and they apparently call a foul on Lambiot.
Here's the foul. Steve Hale, you can see him finding his man, checking him out. That's a tough call.
Sure is.
Steve Hale did a great job, and that's the way you would teach boxing at, and you can tell that his dad was a coach. He's been learning that. His dad was a coach at Oral Roberts at one time. You know, this young man fundamentally is so sound and so important to this team. Today, watching him play, as I mentioned earlier, he has just taken that extra dribble into the crowd instead of just taking the 14-foot jump shot, instead of going for the 10-foot or taking it all the way to the basket.
Is he the kind of fellow that in the future, if you needed a knee operation, you'd allow him to cut on you? He wants to be an orthopedic surgeon.
I think his problem in regards to going into medicine is that he's going to be playing for a while in the NBA.
I would tend to agree with that. 71-65, North Carolina. Nate McMillan cross-courts it to Benny Bolton. NC State continuing to be patient, and why not? They're only down by 6 with better than 6 to go in the game. Lambiot left hands it up and in from the outside.
I know Jim Valvano has got to be ecstatic by the play of Lambiot, because he had told me that the young man is a freshman, has really been having a tough time on the road.
We just saw some great defense inside by NC State. Wolf thought he had an easy easy basket inside. It was rejected by Shackelford. He picked it up, and State comes right back. Here's a steal by Kenny Smith. McMillan trying to shut him off, but Smith got the layup.
He got the layup. A smart play by McMillan, not picking up his 4th foul. Because if he picked up the 4th foul for State, they'd be in serious trouble.
Shackelford left open, and he buries one from 15. He has 10. 73-69. It has been a dandy from the opening tip-off here at Chapel Hill. Thompson swings out to take the pass. Wolf, Jeff Lebo back in the Tar Heel lineup. Thompson will put it up. And it's Nate McMillan as he listens for a moment to Coach Jim Valvano's advice.
Thompson just took that shot so quickly. It appeared that he had made his mind up. If he was going to get the ball, he was going to go up for a shot. Nate, there they're going inside.
3 players around 7-footer Pangiotis Tasoulis, and somebody fouled him. That gives Kevin Madden a chance to come back in. As you take a look at Warren Martin, we mentioned the broken little finger on his left hand, suffered in practice on Wednesday here, underwent surgery on Friday, and they would like to think they'll have him back inside of a couple of weeks. Popson committed his 3rd personal foul that sends Tasoulis to the free throw line.
Tasoulis is not a very good foul shooter, as you saw on that foul shot. He's just shooting 53% from the foul line.
Interesting story for this young man. He attended Hellenic College in Massachusetts, went back to his native Greece to serve in the Army, and was on the Greek national team, where he was spotted by Jimmy Valvano on a tour by his Wolfpack club a couple of years ago. He is the only year that he has eligible to play for North Carolina State, but he's already helped his club a ton. Missing both free throws, and North Carolina is able, as a result, to maintain the lead of 4. Ball tipped away by Tasoulis, playing behind Brad Doherty, and it's Walker Lambiot. Nate McMillan making his move on Jeff Lebo. Whistle. Timeout call. 5-second violation called against NC State's McMillan.
Just excellent defense by Lebo. McMillan should have been aware of that and not been handling the ball that way. They should have gotten into something at the set offensive end.
Dean Smith acting like a traffic cop at the Tar Heel bench. Kenny Smith, Kevin Madden, Steve Hale, Brad Doherty, and Jeff Lebo with the ball in there for North Carolina.
I would expect them, even though State is in that zone, to have good patience, look to get the ball inside to Doherty.
4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 73-69. The Tar Heels have the better of it. Kenny Smith plays to Doherty straight on.
When you're in trouble, you go to your bread and butter man, and that's what he is.
I guess he has scored 20 points now, and North Carolina gets a bit of breathing room. 75-69, not a bunch, in light of the way that State has come back repeatedly today. Lambiot misses. Rebound by Hale. Ran into defense. Plays to Madden at center court. He kicks it off, and it's intercepted by McMillan. 3-on-1. Circle the wagons. They go up top, and Hale was right in the middle of that. He made a sensational defensive play, and to boot, a foul against NC State.
Here's McMillan with the great steal. Gets to Lambiot. Here's the lob. Hale just anticipating the pass. Just has great basketball instincts and just such a feeling for the game. He knew the one thing he was going to give up on in that play. He was going to give up a jump shot from Lambiot. He was not going to allow them to take the ball to the basket if he could at all possibly stop it.
That foul, number 3 on Chris Washburn, that could be the big play in this game.
Well, it's a 4-point play.
Absolutely. No
4-point play.
So 11 points for Steve Hale. He's also doled out 7 assists. And he's a perfect 3 out of 3 from the line.
Well, Steve said today in the paper he wanted a tough ball game, and they have it on their hands today against State.
They sure do, but they get a big hoop by Doherty off the missed free throw by Hale, and just like that, Carolina leads 78-69.
Those are the type that drive a coach crazy because they just didn't check out on the foul lane and allowed Wolf to get a hand on it and knock it over to Doherty for the layup.
Jeff Lebo got charged with a foul for North Carolina, and so it'll be free throw time for NC State, or will it? Dean Smith is apparently appealing to the officials, saying, no way are they supposed to shoot it. The foul was not in the act of shooting.
The big thing is that they're calling the foul on Doherty for some reason, and that's why the questions are out there. Now let's take a look and see if it is a foul on Doherty.
If it was,
Lebo driving to the basket. There's the body, the foul by Doherty, by Lebo.
No question.
No way. No way.
Do they keep the foul against Doherty?
Oh yes.
Well, that's number 4 against Brad Doherty, and obviously Dean Smith would have liked to have had it the other way, and by all rights should have had it the other way.
Well, that just proves the officials are human as well, but when you have 3 officials on the court, they should be able to pick that up and at least confer with each other to make sure that they get the right player.
Big miss by Charles Shackelford, and North Carolina gets it back.
Carolina right now should probably use a little bit of time on the clock, especially with Doherty having those 4 fouls.
3 minutes, 25 seconds. There's Joe Wolf.
Yeah, they used around 5 seconds.
Their lead is 11. That is the biggest for either club today.
Well, Carolina goes right to the zone to try and protect Doherty.
Lambiot kicks it inside to Washburn. He goes around Doherty, who really has to play a bit cautiously at this point, and Washburn got an easy slam.
I have been so impressed by Washburn. When I saw him play against Western Carolina, I just didn't know how good a basketball player he was going to be. But now I see a move like that, and the way he's passed the ball and the way he's competed defensively in there is going to be a great one.
Wolf misses a turnaround, and the ball, nope, it was not saved by Nate McMillan. He said, I didn't step on the line. That stops the clock with 2 minutes and 46 seconds. Let's see if we can see it.
McMillan coming back for the rebound, loses the handle on it. Looks like he got the line.
Sure does. Timeout on the floor. Time remaining. 2:46 at the moment. North Carolina in the driver's seat, leading NC State 80-71. Today's game is brought to you in part by Mazda and Holly Farms. North Carolina up by 9, 80-71, 2:46 remaining in this one, and something that certainly comes into play in games such as this. There it is right there, although I don't think NC State has any remaining. And they have 1 left, the Wolfpack does, and North Carolina has that big 4. They are stuck on 4. Dean Smith has been saving them up. Will he have to use them? We'll find out in the final 2:46.
Well, Carolina came in with a philosophy that they were going to be aggressive defensively, look to push the ball any opportunity they had, the length of the court, to create some opportunities for themselves offensively. And they've been maintained that philosophy throughout the game, and it's been able to get them the lead. One point, though, is we know with 2:45 to play now, a year or 2 ago, you know what you'd be seeing right now.
We're out all over the floor.
And we're seeing a little bit of it
Yes,
now.
we are. North Carolina has gone into a 4 corners offense. They're going to burn some time off of that shot clock.
Be very difficult for State with that lineup they have in there to pressure the Carolina team.
Jim Valvano screaming that Steve Hale drug his pivot foot after stopping his dribble, but no whistle.
Benny Bolton's got to go out and play Hale, and Lambiot, he's got to go play Lebo. Tough matchup there. Got their hands on the ball. The one guy I would not want near the basketball is McMillan.
How about Hale? He hit the driving layup with the shot clock showing but 7 ticks. So Steve Hale with 13. 82-71, answering at the other end, big Chris Washburn. But under 2 remaining in the game now. North Carolina up by 9. Kenny Smith and company in no real hurry at the moment.
You know what happens when you go to this 4 corner? Good hustle by Lambiot.
And he took a finger in the face by Jeff Lebo as he tried to save the ball. And Lambiot, appearing to be in some pain, now goes down and will be administered to at center court.
It looked like he got a finger in the eye.
Official timeout.
Here's with the pressure. Pass by Hale, cross court. Look at Lambiot stretching out. Gets a hand, or gets an elbow right there, right across the bridge of the nose. That hurts.
Jeff Lebo with inadvertent contact, and the official timeout as a try to bring Walker Lambie out around. Now, as you see, in a seated position, and apparently is going to be okay.
So defensively, when you play against 4 corners, and the way Carolina is running it now with their 3 guards in the backcourt, the big people defensively underneath, you know, just standing there watching. They're not involved in the game. And then all of a sudden, Steve Hale makes that move to the basket, and it's difficult for them to react because they've lost that aggressiveness defensively.
Lambiot apparently was cut. He has been taken to the NC State bench, so Jimmy Valvano making a substitution as they work over Walker Lambiot at the far end of the Wolfpack bench. Jimmy Valvano injected a bit of mystery into this game today. He implied to members of the media yesterday and last night that he might have something special cooked up in lieu of the fact this is the final game ever to be played at Carmichael, so we'll keep an eye on him at the end of the game. Doherty follows in this layup attempt by Kenny Smith and was fouled by Washburn.
Kenny Smith taking it strong to the basket. Probably should have given it off to Doherty immediately. Doherty, it's amazing how great players always seem to be in the right spot at the right time. Here's the potential three-point play.
He has 24 points this afternoon, Brad Doherty does, and is yet to hit a free throw. He is now 0 for 4, and there's the ever-present Mr. Hale for the rebound. Kenny Smith. All 12 of his points have come in the second half, and North Carolina has broken it open here in the last few minutes. A rainmaker from the outside by Nate McMillan. But State still down by 11, 86-75 with 66 seconds remaining. Kenny Smith breaks to open court, finds Doherty. He lays it in and was fouled again.
When you're on the road in a situation like this, it's very difficult to, you have to be going for the steals or you have to take the fouls. And Kenny Smith with that great quickness, and he sees the court so well. This time when he penetrated, he found Brad Doherty for the layup.
Well, I'll tell you, in the absence of Warren Martin, Brad Doherty and Joe Wolf inside have certainly done the job today. Doherty with 27 points, 10 rebounds. Wolf has had 14 points and 13 rebounds. 89-75, less than a minute on the clock. Here's McMillan firing and hitting again. And State utilizes its final timeout with 52 ticks on the clock remaining. So North Carolina is going to close the book on play in Carmichael Auditorium, obviously with a win today. But Jimmy Valvano, I'm sure, will have seen a lot of things that he's got to be very pleased with in terms of his young NC State team.
And Dean Smith has seen a lot of things that he knows that now his team was confronted with a tough ball game. They had to come back. They had to just dig down. They weren't able to put this team away, the State Ball Club, which they had down by 10 points. Bang, here comes State back, knocks 7 consecutive points, makes it a 3-point basketball game. So the Carolina team knows that they were in a tough ball game, and they responded well to it.
Jimmy Valvano can no longer stop the clock. He uses his final timeout. And Billy, again, extending what you were saying, they stood a chance of being blown completely out of here when Carolina had that 63-53 lead. The point in which Jimmy called the timeout, they came back to score 7 in a row.
And had 3 freshmen, a sophomore, and 1 senior on the court at that time, showing great confidence. I've been just impressed that Jimmy Valvano came into this game. Now, flying down for this ball game, I felt that if I was going to play a Carolina ball club, #1 in the country, and all the things surrounding this game with Indian Carmichael, I might have to go with some sort of a gimmick to try and keep myself in the basketball game and a chance to win. And his response to me was, hey, we're just going out and playing basketball.
Doherty fouled by Washburn, and that's number 5, or make that 4. Let's see. Washburn committed the foul to keep Mr. Doherty from getting the slam.
The land of the Giants. Both of them had their heads over the rim.
So Doherty getting well here at the end, goes back to the free throw line. A total of 27 points, but only 1 for 5 from the free throw line, and this one he got the roll on.
You know, a game like this for Dean Smith is good for a few reasons. It scared his players a little bit. They've been on just easy street now for a month and a half, beating their opponents by an average of over 37 points a game, thinking this game is too easy. And now they realize hey, we got to get ourselves back to where. What a play by McMillan.
He missed the jump shot, got the long rebound, and one motion he slammed it back through, 90-79.
Oh, there's no quit in that young man. Here he is going over and double teaming.
Only 14 seconds to go. Kenny Smith backs it back out. Clock winding down. Smith to Doherty. Long pass out to center court to Steve Hale. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1, and that is it as Hale dribbles the clock away. Jimmy Valvano and Dean Smith meeting at center court as they visit very, very briefly. Valvano takes a basketball from one of the game officials. Keep an eye on him. Well, watch what comes about now.
Oh, look at this. The last field goal that Carmichael scored by Jim Valvano.
Well, Billy, he indicated to you yesterday that's what he was going to do. He said it in confidence. He did not tell the media, but he lived up to what he said he was going to do. And despite an 11-point loss, Jimmy Valvano, as normally he will glean some humor out of this game today in light of the fact he can always say, I made the last field goal at Carmichael.
That's right. You know, so many times as coaches and fans, we take these games a little too seriously. You know, he came out here, and there's no one in the world that wanted to be Carolina more than Jimmy Valvano, but still was able to, the game is over, laugh about it, and realize there's going to be tomorrow.
Well, North Carolina and Dean Smith specifically tried to downplay this game, as he did last year when the Tar Heels thought they had officially closed this building with that February 23rd victory over Cliff Ellis and the Clemson Tigers. The media referred to this game as Carmichael 2, and that evoked a very amusing comment from North Carolina Athletic Director John Swafford, who said yesterday, we felt if they can have Rocky 4, we can certainly have Carmichael 2. But the end result today was the same as it was last February, although not nearly as easy a win, Billy, for the Tar Heels today against an NC State team that figures to continue to improve as it was last year against Clemson.
Yeah, this team is just going to be a great ball club. Couple points. This game had to be a lot of pressure on Dean Smith and the players because they knew they had to win. They wanted to go out closing this building in style. I just hope, I've been fortunate enough to see Wool and Gym closed. Now Carmichael. What do you think our chances are of watching the new Student Center closing?
I'd like to be around by then. Well, it puts a final record here at Carmichael Auditorium, 168 wins and only 20 losses, a winning percentage of between 89 and 90%. North Carolina can only hope they can enjoy that kind of success when they move into the Student Activity Center 2 weeks from today in a game that you'll see when the Tar Heels tee it up against a great basketball team in its own right in the Duke Blue Devils. Let's go now to Paul Cameron. Paul?
All right, I'm standing here with some happy Tar Heels. First of all, Joe Wolf. Boy, you guys got off easy street and right to the heat of the battle, didn't you?
Yeah, it was fun out there today. They had some great young talent, and they gave us a good game, and we're happy to come out with the win in our last game in Carmichael.
Your thoughts on Shackelford and Washburn as a big front line?
Yeah, they're two young players that are really good, and they gave us a battle in there today, and I think Brad really played well. He's an All-American, and he played real well.
Let's get your teammate in here, the big fella. Come on, Big Lumber. All right, Brad Doherty, a high man today, but you really had a tussle inside with Washburn.
Yeah, well, all of their big guys did a good job. They all move very well. They have a young team. They have a lot of inexperience, and I feel they're going to be a force to be reckoned with once they get a little game experience.
What about the closeness of this game? Do you think it may have awakened a sleeping giant?
Oh, no. We always come to play, and no matter who we're playing, we're going to play the same. And a lot of people say we can't play against height and all that. You know, that's nonsense. We come to play hard. We're not going to change our game for anyone, and we showed that today.
How about with Warren on the bench today? Did you try to reach down and get a little something extra just for him?
Oh, I had to. I had to stay out there a lot longer. I was looking for my buddy today, but he wasn't there. But, you know, Joe and Pop and all those guys did a good job, and Kenny and Steve and Jeff did a good job out on the front controlling things. So we had a good team effort today. Played very well.
Okay, Brad. Kenny, come on in here. Kenny Smith, early in this game, really the guards didn't seem to take care of the ball that well. You were turning it over, and State got some confidence.
Definitely. Early in the game, now we were turning the ball a lot, which wasn't really indicative of what we've been doing early in the year. I think after the second half, we settled down and then started to get the ball inside and got good shots.
Okay, talk about the defense this man played over here, Steve Hale, today.
Well, Steve does it night in and night out. You always can depend on him defensively, and we knew what he was going to do. So our guys, it's no surprise to us.
Steve Hale, come in here just a second. Steve, what about not taking care of the ball early on? Were you at any point in this ball game that you were concerned about State's momentum, their confidence?
I don't think that we're really concerned. I thought we came out a little nervous at the start of the game. The first ACC game, it was a big battle, and we just were a little impatient. I thought that we settled down later on in the second half and played well.
As a senior, your thoughts on leaving Carmichael?
Well, I have mixed emotions. This has been good to myself and to the Tar Heels, but yet it seems like we're making a step up. We're going into a building where more people can see us play, where it's, you know, bigger is better, they say, and I'm going to miss this place, but I think we're all looking forward to playing at the new one.
And I'm sure it's going to be a tough one.